I'd really like to hear about how you came to the Nomadic system, because I'm a big fan of it. I've been advocating it for ages. Peter Davis loves it, and Peter Davis can do no wrong in my eyes. Like, I think it's the way forward. And I'd like to hear a little bit about how, I guess, you came to this model. Also, depending, your background is not nomadic necessarily. I'd like to hear about like how this was something that you stumbled into or didn't stumble into.
Yeah. Would you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, I've so with all the shows that I've been putting on for 15 years, have always been in different spaces by and large. I think that organically is born out of a financial positioning of not having the commitment to take on a full space and a lease and all of that. But with that constraint also gives you the flexibility to really change things up, to respond to a space and to perform in a way that isn't constrained of like, we have to sell X amount because we have to pay the rent at the end of the month. And that also it can end up being quite limiting with the artists that you choose. So we've always had a commitment to choosing like young, emerging artists, mixed in with some very well-esteemed ones, but we want to give those experimental platforms to those who otherwise get overlooked. So a number of photographers we've worked with who it's been their first exhibitions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Tom said, it's not rocket science that if you have so you've got a 5-year lease on a space and you've got to pay your rent every single month and you've got to pay rates and you've got to pay bills and you've got to pay staff, all of a sudden it becomes an extremely challenging prospect. And then because of the sort of work we're dealing with, although people look like the headline figure, by the time you paid the artist and you've done all the other things that you need to before you can take any money out, it can be a real challenge. And I think like another important point that Tom alluded to, there is, I think, he and I are well agreed on this, which is if you have the same space, there is a certain charm to the limitations that being in the same place all the time can give you. But equally, having that opportunity, that flexibility to go and do different things all the time and work in a new space, and basically, you can tailor the project and the artist to where you are. I think it opens up so many more doors. I think also that because people don't like shop in the same way anymore, back when you had a sort of a leisure class who would just go around the galleries and buy things. I mean, in my experience, I've worked in galleries for years, the number of times that people actually come in, probably off the street and you've never heard of, and transact is just crazy. And it's so important to have a physical space. And you look at, people made a big transformation during COVID into being much more willing to do things online and via PDF. But people still really, really want to see the thing. They want to be around people. They want to be in a space. They want to be able to smell the picture. And I don't think that's going to go away. And I also think it means not having that fixed commitment every month means that you can go and do bigger and wilder projects because you can stagger them. So instead of having to do a new show, you do 10 shows a year if you're in a space, you do, basically one a month and then a summer holiday. We can change it. If we decided that we wanted to really go hard for, maybe we do 4 shows a year. And it also means that something that we're hopefully going to be doing is it gives us more flexibility to take things abroad. So we can take great shows of maybe British artists to Paris, or we could take French artists to Tokyo, or whatever it is, because you don't have that strain. And I think there is justification to being in a fixed location and becoming a destination. But I also think that the world's changing and it becomes harder and harder to sustain that business model.